आज गुढीपाडव्याचा दिवस आहे. नमस्कार सर्वांना. हिंदू नवीन वर्षाच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आणि तुमचं येणारं वर्ष अतिशय सुंदर, सुख समृद्धीचं आणि भरभराटीचं जाऊ दे. एस्पेशली टू ऑल आवर स्टुडंट्स, आय विश यू द व्हेरी बेस्ट इन लाईफ अँड लॉट ऑफ हेल्थ अँड हॅपीनेस अँड मेक एव्हरीथिंग कम बॅक टू यू इन अबंडन्स. हॅव्हिंग सेड दॅट, जरी आपण नेहमी शक्यतो हायब्रिड मॉडेलमध्ये जातो, मराठी आणि इंग्लिश, परंतु आजचा हा विषय इतका महत्त्वाचा आहे, not just for college applications or PhD applications or undergrad, grad and other applications. तुम्ही लाईफमध्ये कुठेही जरी एसेज लिहत असाल किंवा तुम्हाला प्रॉम्प्ट्स दिले असतील, तर इट मस्ट बी डेफिनेटली फॉर अ व्हेरी लॉफ्टी आयडियल. आणि त्यावेळी तुम्ही न डगबगता कसं छान लिहावं यासाठी हा आजचा सगळा कार्यक्रम आहे. आणि म्हणून हा द मोड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन फॉर दिस पर्टिक्युलर session or podcast will be invariably in English today, so that all our young friends will get benefited. आणि तुम्हाला जर काही डाउट्स असतील, क्वेश्चन्स असतील, तर प्लीज राईट इट डाऊन, प्लीज शेअर इन द चॅट, अँड ॲट द एंड ऑफ दिस पॉडकास्ट विल डेफिनेटली लुक ॲट them. If we run out of time, because there's only a finite time of 1.5 hours, and after that we will take few questions, but then if we run out of time, our guest of honor today, Madhavi Jagtap, she is already on the Balak Palak group, and she can definitely club those questions according to commonality, and then she can answer those for you. So having said that, Madhavi Tai, I would love to introduce you, but you are a recurring guest here on this podcast, and I would like you to let them know what you do, because the last time I introduced you as an early childhood expert, but this time it is definitely different. अँड हॅपी न्यू इयर टू यू. तुम्हाला तुमच्या कुटुंबियांना गुढीपाडव्याच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आणि विदाउट फर्दर अडू, इतकं आपल्याला करायचं आहे आज कम्प्लीट की 1 minute बिफोर दॅट, लेट मी गो थ्रू द कस्टमरी प्रोसेस दॅट वी ऑलवेज डू. प्रसाद पानवळकर, माझे यजमान आणि BMMचे सध्या अध्यक्ष, धन्यवाद तुम्ही इथे आलात आणि आमचा पॉडकास्ट अटेंड केलात. आणि मला ज्यांनी ही संधी दिली हा इनिशिएटिव्ह करायची, ते म्हणजे राहुल देशमुख. सो राहुल सर, तुमचे पण खूप खूप धन्यवाद. तुम्हाला सगळ्यांना गुढीपाडव्याच्या खूप खूप शुभेच्छा. प्रसाद पानवळकर, तुम्ही जर स्वतःची इंट्रोडक्शन दोन 2-4 सेंटेन्सेस मध्ये दिली तर बरं होईल. आणि त्यानंतर राहुल सरांकडे बटन पास करा. आणि राहुल सर, आज तुम्हाला मान आहे की तुम्ही माधवीताईंना बटन पास करा. सो विदाउट फर्दर डिस्ट्रॅक्शन्स, प्रसाद, इट्स ऑल युअर्स.
धन्यवाद निवी. मंडळी, तुमच्या सगळ्यांचं स्वागत आहे बालक पालकचं अनादर सेशन. आणि खूप ह्याला डिमांड आहे या सेशनला, तर धन्यवाद निवी आणि माधवीताई. तुम्ही छान सुरुवात करून दिलेली आहे आणि लोक आम्हाला विचारत असतात की कधी पुढचं सेशन आणि काय. सो खरंच छान सुरुवात आहे. सगळ्या लोकांना गुढीपाडव्याच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा. आय नो की आज सणाचा दिवस आहे, तुम्ही सगळे कदाचित व्यस्त असाल, पण ही मीटिंग खूप आधी सेट झाल्यामुळे आम्हाला फार लास्ट मिनिट चेंज नाही करता आलं. पण तरी जवळजवळ 50 लोक आलेत आणि कदाचित वाढतील. तर खूप खूप धन्यवाद. आणि आजचा विषय जसं नेहमी म्हणाली फार महत्वाचा आहे, म्हणजे एसे रायटिंग. तुमची मुलं जर हायस्कूलर असतील, 9वी-8वीत असतील, तर त्यांना नक्की माहिती आहे की किती महत्वाचा विषय. कॉलेजच्या ऍडमिशनचं बऱ्यापैकी मुलांचं भवितव्य त्या एका ह्या पार्टवर बऱ्यापैकी ठरू शकतं. ऑफकोर्स मार्क्स पाहिजेत चांगले, इतर व्हॉलेंटिअरिंग वर्क आणि इतर क्रेडेन्शियल्स पण पाहिजेत. पण एसे रायटिंग हा फार महत्वाचा टॉपिक आहे. तर तुम्ही नक्की तुमच्या मुलांना बोलवा, जर ते आजूबाजूला असतील. पालकांबरोबर मुलांनी पण हा सेशन अटेंड करायला पाहिजे. आणि म्हणून माधवीताई थोडा इंग्लिश पण बोलणार आहेत की ज्यायोगे त्यांना पण कळेल. आपल्याला मुलांचं बाईन हवंय आज पालकांबरोबर. तर प्लीज तुमची मुलं आजूबाजूला असतील तर, आणि जेवण झालं असेल किंवा तर मॅनेज करता येत असेल, तर त्यांना येऊन बसायला सांगा. आणि एवढं बोलून मी शुभेच्छा देतो तुम्हा सगळ्या मुलांना. आणि नक्की तुम्हाला या सेशनचा फायदा होईल. जर डिमांड असेल तर आपण परत एकदा घेऊ, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. फक्त आम्हाला कळवा तसं की आम्हाला हा अजून एकदा सेशन हवाय. आणि माधवीताई, निवी नक्की हा परत तुमच्यासाठी घेऊन येतील कार्यक्रम. तर आपण राहुल सरांकडे जाऊया. धन्यवाद राहुल सर, हा फोरम तुम्ही आम्हाला सगळ्यांना उपलब्ध करून दिलाय आणि खूपच यशस्वी आहे. तर टू यू. थँक्यू अगेन.
धन्यवाद. पहिल्यांदा निविताई आणि माधवीताई, तुमचे खरंच आभार की तुम्ही तुमचा वेळ काढून तुमचं ज्ञान आमच्या सगळ्यांबरोबर वाटताय. आणि प्रसाद सर, धन्यवाद, तुम्ही पाठिंबा दिलात आणि असे चांगले नवीन नवीन उपक्रम आपल्याला सगळ्यांसमोर आणता येतात. सगळ्यांना पाडव्याच्या शुभेच्छा आणि मी उत्सुक आहे तुमचं व्याख्यान ऐकायला.
सर्वात प्रथम धन्यवाद मला परत बोलवल्याबद्दल इथे. सगळ्यांना आणि म्हणजे BMM आणि सर्वांना नवीन वर्षाच्या फार फार शुभेच्छा. मला असं वाटतं की नवीन वर्षात मुलं जास्त लिहू वाचू लागतील. ही माझी इच्छा ॲज अ रीडिंग रायटिंग टीचर आणि प्रोफेसर. सो होपफुली ह्या सेशनचा उपयोगच होईल. ह्या नवीन वर्षामध्ये जर का तुम्हाला काही रेझोल्युशन्स बनवायचे असतील मुलांना, तर द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टंट रेझोल्युशन वुड बी यू विल रीड अँड राईट मोर. ह्या ह्या पलीकडे दुसरं काहीच इम्पॉर्टंट मला वाटत नाही फॉर स्टुडंट्स. आय मीन गिवन गिवन आताची जी परिस्थिती आहे ती. सो लेट मी शेअर माय प्रेझेंटेशन विथ यू गाईज. And Madhavitai, before you start talking, I would like to take a minute to explain to everybody the reason and the rationale for this particular podcast. It so happened that I love English as a language. However, when I came to the United States about 26 years ago, I wasn't groomed the way all the kids are right now in the United States, how to write an essay on a prompt. For us, essay was like an autobiography or writing about something abstract. But then when I saw prompts for the first time, I had nightmares. It was PTSD event for me. And then eventually I figured out, oh, this is what it is. There is a science to it that we did not know growing up because we were in a different continent. Things people learn differently. But then when I saw that, I felt that it shouldn't be rocket science for all of us who know the thing, who may not know the thing, or who are in between this spectrum. So I have heard numerous parents. I groom hundreds of kids for college, undergrad, grad, and PhD, and other things too. And I've seen numerous, thousands of parents till now in 26 years when they say, ओ माझी मुलगी ना तिचं इंग्लिश खूप अमेझिंग आहे आणि ती येते तिला येते ते एसएबीसी सगळं ठीक आहे बट देन few years down the lane they say, oh, I wish I had known the science behind writing that prompt, because just writing an essay and just writing a prompt is extremely different. मी खूप वेळा मुलांना बघितलंय की ते म्हणाले की माझ्या आईने सांगितले हा बेस्ट आहे, माझा मुलगा नीट करतो, सगळं तो नीट करू शकतो, आम्ही काय त्यात लक्ष घालत नाही कारण मला पटकन कळत नाही एक्झॅक्टली काय करायचंय, त्याला कळतंय, गुड इनफ. इट इज रिअली गुड इनफ, बट मला असं वाटतं बालक पालकचा होल आयडिया इज टू create a holistic balak so that we can increase the probability of success for a best balak. Nobody can make the best in life 100 out of 100, but as a parent we can strive for perfection and we can be happy and content की आम्हाला कळतंय बाबा काय चाललंय आजूबाजू. आणि एज्युकेशन कधी फुकट जात नाही. जरी 40, 50, 60ला जरी कळलं की कसा एसे लिहितात, काय लिहितात, तरी सुद्धा इट गोज अ लॉंग वे. अँड दॅट इज द रिझन along with students, we want parents to take interest too, because it's really a very beautiful science. It's not just writing about something that you know or can think of. It is a chronological set of events that if you follow, you will definitely hit it. So having said that, Madhavita, all yours. And I totally agree with Nivi. Reading and writing is a science, and it is a learned science. It's a skill. It is an acquired skill. It doesn't come naturally sometimes to some people. For some people, writing can be a very natural skill, but for others, it is a acquired, a learned skill, and it takes a lot and lot of practice, years and years of practice to write creatively. So having said that, a little background about me would be, I have been a reading and writing teacher for many, many years. In New York, I used to teach English as a second language. I began my career as a college professor in India, Mumbai Madhe. I was a college literature, English literature शिकवायचे. I was a lecturer. And I used to also teach business communication and communication skills in English in India to the engineering students. And then when I came here, I had to do my master's in education, get a license to teach in public school. And I taught for around 10 years in New York, public schools, middle school and high school. I was typically teaching English as a second language. But I used to also co-teach with my ELA teachers, the classroom ELA teachers. We used to come together and we used to plan our lessons and reading and writing strategies, how to teach not only the English as a second language learners, but also the special education students and the general population. So over the years, I have come up with my own strategies, like knowing the classroom scenario and knowing how students approach reading and writing. I feel personally, I have come up with a few reading and writing strategies which I feel help students a lot. आणि म्हणून I have kind of condense them all into this presentation. Hey, presentation can go for 16 weeks. Let me tell you, I teach this course at Austin Community College. I teach reading and writing, and I teach strategies. Basically, it's all about strategies. So I have pulled out certain things and elements and components which I feel are important for students, not only in middle and high school, but college going students as well. Which can help them write essays. Mostly, it is focused on essay writing. But I see some students here, मला दिसतायत video मध्ये, there are elementary students पण आहेत इकडे. Well, reading strategies and writing strategies are across the board. It can be, if you know, I'm very happy to see that there are certain elementary students here because what I'm going to tell you right today, I'm going to share with you. If as parents, if you can ask, if you can make a habit for your elementary students, level students to use these strategies, that will be, I cannot even imagine by the time they go to middle school, high school, they might have acquired so many skills, right? So most of these skills are taught by the ELA teachers in the school, but not everybody uses them when it comes to reading and writing. So having said that, let's begin. First thing is reading and writing are both skills. They are language skills, right? Apart from listening and speaking. So when you're learning any language, you're learning 4 skills, right? Listening, speaking, then reading and writing. So out of that 4 skills, the listening and speaking comes very naturally and easily to anyone, even if you're learning a foreign language, right? तुम्हाला उद्या जर स्पॅनिश फ्रेंच शिकायचं असेल तर लिसनिंग आणि स्पीकिंग तुम्ही पहिलं कॅच करणार. रीडिंग आणि रायटिंग आर द स्ट्रॅटेजीज विच इन एनी लँग्वेज कम्स लेट, pretty late. Writing त्यातल्या त्यात अजूनही it takes lots of practice for those writing skills to be developed. So reading and writing are integrated. They are like, they are like brothers and sisters. They always go together. They are like the most loving couple. They cannot be separated, right? They go together. Reading असेल तर writing असलंच पाहिजे, आणि writing cannot come without reading. They are all integrated. It's together. So therefore, I always think that reading is like breathing in. You read your books, you take in all that knowledge, you take in all the text, and then you need to pour it out somewhere, right? And so writing is like breathing out. So you take in the text and you breathe out the text in your own words. That is what writing is. So moving forward, there are many text, essay and text structures, okay, that we write essays on. Elementary school मधल्या मुलांसाठी शाळेमध्ये असे प्रश्न विचारणार. You guys might be asked questions to write short constructive responses or extended responses. They might give you prompts. They might give you a comprehension passage, and they might tell you that now you have to answer this prompt in either a short constructed response, which can be a 1-paragraph response, or an extended response. Extended response could be 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs in elementary. Because the focus now is more on writing. Elementary मध्ये सुद्धा 2 and 3 paragraph writing passages येत आहेत state test वरती. Yeah. Wait, Nivi, you're muted.
आपण हे प्रेझेंटेशन मोड मध्ये करू शकतो का, म्हणजे
Oh,
थोडं
yeah, yes. Yeah, thanks for, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
हा,
So
thank you.
Yes. So narrative एक आहे, narrative text is going to be an essay where you're talking about yourself. You're narrating a story. It's just like narrating a story. You're telling a story. The story can be about yourself. The story can be about another person. The story can be about the way you were brought up in a different country, or the story. It could be any story you're writing about, right? So those are called narrative essays, and narrative essays can also be 3 paragraphs, they can be 5 paragraphs long, but it is especially talking about yourself. So the first person perspective there, the pronoun is going to be I, me, my, mine, right? It's all about you. So you are the writer, you're the author. So narrative essays are usually talking about yourself. Okay. Descriptive essays are essays which are describing something, right? Just like the word says, descriptive. It describes maybe, one of the events in your childhood. It might describe, the trip you took to Europe, maybe, or it might describe the poverty that you had seen growing up in your country. Anything descriptive. So, mostly the descriptive essays usually uses all your senses, right? Because you need the audience who is your reader when you're writing these essays to feel what you felt when you're describing those essays. So it is going to always focus on your 5 senses, your taste, your smell, the things you felt, your emotions, and all of those. And also, you have to leave your reader with a clear impression when what you're talking about. Like if you're talking about an event that happened in your childhood that really motivated you and inspired you, then you have to be very descriptive. You're not just going to be factually telling the audience and reader that, hey, this is what happened, but you will be giving more details in it. You'll be more elaborate, describing what happened, right? You're going to be touching on those senses and making your writer feel what you feel, right? That is description. Argumentative, they're also called as persuasive essays. Mostly they come in middle school and high school. Though sometimes in 5th grade they do argumentative essays as well. So argumentative essays are usually essays which have prompts like, investigate a topic or collect a general idea or evaluate what you think, or give us evidence about what your claim is. So usually argumentative or persuasive essay. Persuade means you are trying to persuade your readers to agree to what you feel, right? To your opinion, your claim. So usually the argumentative essays would have a claim, and then it might have supporting ideas for it, like what is the evidence you're providing. Okay, and I'll show you an example in a few minutes, but just take a look at these. These are the 4 textual or essay structures. And the next one is the expository, it is just an introduction of any topic you're trying to say. So for example, say you're talking about plastic reduction, use of plastic reduction, right? Use of plastic and the reduction of the plastic in society. Say if this is your topic, then you're going to be giving out some introduction, how plastic is causing problems. Then you will be giving examples of what are the problems of it. Then you might even give some solutions into it, right? So the expository essays usually are on topics which are giving some introduction of a topic, but also is trying to discuss several aspects and from several perspectives about that particular topic. Any questions so far? I know.
No questions. It's just that if the rest of the slides that I have seen are kind of related, we can not zoom through it, but we can finish it a bit quicker.
Oh, okay.
Can you please explain the last one?
The expository is
expository. I'm sorry.
The expository essays are the essays where you're trying to, like I gave you an example, right? If you're trying to explain a topic that is really concerning you, or a topic that is a social issue, right? Say, for example, gender bias, Or, I mean, of course, I see you have elementary kids. That won't be a issue, a topic for them. But say, for example, how can you reduce plastic usage? Plastic is causing so much problems in the society. How can you reduce the consumption of plastic? Maybe you can give some problems and you can give some solutions, and then your conclusion would be what you feel about this topic. So expositories it can be on any topic you want to, but it's not more like argumentative. It's just putting in your views and your opinions about that particular topic. All right. So having said that, pre-reading strategies. Now, when a teacher gives you a text to read, or when you sit for an exam, right? A test, a state test, and you have like 5 separate texts in front of you, and you have to read it in a very timed. These are very timed tests. Whether high school students SAT, ACT देता है कि elementary students state test देता है. Everything is timed now, right? You have to be able to complete your test. Not only complete the prompt, write the prompt, but also read it in a timely fashion. So how can we make it more easier, right? Because I have seen in my experience that students are not able to, they are able to read the text, but they are not able to comprehend what's in the text in that time that they are given. Maybe 5 minutes to read a paragraph, or maybe 5 paragraphs, right? And then you have to answer the prompt. So answering the prompt, the essay prompt, will take more time than reading the prompt, right? Of course. So therefore, you have to be very active readers when you're reading, so that you're using your time wisely. You have to be reading smartly, so that you don't have to work hard again going back to those passages or going back to those paragraphs, rereading them. There is no time for that. So what do we do then? When we start reading something, there are certain pre-reading strategies, and I'm pretty sure your ELA teacher has taught you those. That's exactly what the ELA teachers do in the classroom, whether it's middle school, high school, or elementary. So once you get a passage, or once you get a text, or once you know that, hey, this is the text I will be asked a quiz on, or I will be asked to write an essay on, what do we do first? We do some pre-reading strategies. Now, once I get a text, I will look at the heading, I look at the title, right? If there are any pictures there, I look at those pictures, some illustrations in the text. Then I just scan through the text. All of this should take around 1 minute, not more than that. So when I'm given a test or a text, I scan the topic, I scan the title, I look at who is the writer. I also look at how many paragraphs I'm just scanning it. When I scan something, I just skim through it. I'm not going into the details. I'm not focusing, and I'm not even reading right now. So, and I look for bolded words. Are there any bold words that the author wants us to focus on? Are there any words in italics that the author wants us to pay attention to? Are there any subheadings in the text? Right? Subheadings are always given for the author by the author, so that the readers pay attention to the subheadings, right? And then after skimming and scanning through the text, my brain is still working, right? Your brain is working 100 times faster at that time, because you have to read the text after that. So you're predicting, what is this text going to be about, right?
पाठवलं तिने क्वेश्चनच नाही पाठवलं तर
Folks, can we please mute ourselves?
Thank you. Yeah. So skimming and scanning through the text is very important. That's the first thing. That's called preview. Then you predict. You predict, just reading the title, you predict that, oh, I think this article is going to be about this. So, and I see some bolded words. There are some repeated words. While you're scanning, if you are that active reader, you will see that some of the words are repeated in the text multiple times by the writer. Those are the key words for you. You have to hold on to those. You have to retain those. If you have a scrap paper, write them down in front of you. Okay, so those keywords are going to tell you that, okay, this article is about, maybe it's about plastic consumption, problems of plastic, solutions of plastic, right? As you scan through it, it's going a good writer usually gives all these things in a very sequential order. They're not going to be just thrown in the passage haphazardly. Then you connect with your background. Hey, have I ever come across this problem in my life before? Have I seen plastic littered on the street? Do we use plastic in the house? So what's your background knowledge, right? How are you connecting that with your background knowledge? Then you're asking these questions. Are there any repeated words? Are there any keywords that the writer has, highlighted or bolded and things like that? So these are called pre-reading strategies, and these are very important. Now, mind you, you have not even started reading the text yet. All of these things that I have mentioned here on the left-hand side should be done by you as a reader in not more than 1 to 1.5 minutes. All of this should take 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how much time you have on that test, right? So that's why it's very important. That's the reason why it's very important to train your minds. Once you get a book in your hand, once you get a text in your hand, or no matter what article you have it, whether it's 10 pages, 20 pages, or maybe it's 1 page, all these things should go over. You should be going over these things immediately in 1 or 2 minutes, even before you start reading that text. These are called pre-reading strategies. All right. Now, usually when you're given a text on the test, you scan it for sections, then you decide which section you'll be doing first. You do the multiple choice questions first, then you keep your essay kind of questions to the end. And while you're scanning through your tests, you're also making sure that you will do those questions first, which are your quick wins, right? Mostly the grammar questions are the quick wins. Grammar is like math. English grammar is just like math. There is a formula for grammar, just like there are formulas for arithmetic, right? For math formulas. So once you know grammar, you can, get rid of those multiple choice questions first. Then comes your synonym and antonym questions most of the time. Get rid of those questions first. So always do the quick wins ones, the ones that you know you will be able to be finished with. All right. And then go on to your essay types questions. Also, when I always tell the students when they get a text to read on a test, always look at the questions first, and then you start reading your text. It helps. I'll tell you why. You first read the multiple choice questions, then you read your essay prompt, right? Whichever, there might be 2 essay prompts, 3 essay prompts. Read your questions before you start reading your text. Because then what happens is you have those questions at the back of your mind. So when you read your text, you know what's been asked already. And then your mind and your eyes will be focused on those words. Okay? Yeah. Any questions? I know I'm going too fast here. Nivi?
Actually, Madhavi, there's so much to cover.
I know, yeah.
Okay
I'll
to
just
go a
shoot
little
through
faster
it.
because we want to finish
Yeah.
all the slides.
Then during reading strategies are, again, annotation skills, note-taking skills. This is what you're doing when you're reading the text. Okay. The earlier strategy I told you guys, this is for high school students. This is also for middle school students. Annotation skills go hand in hand. I mean, you don't want to go back to the text and spend more time reading it, right? That is waste of time and energy. So annotation, I'll show you some examples of annotation. Note-taking skills. Always keep flashcards in front of you and take down notes on those flashcards. There is something called as Cornell note-taking, and I'll show you in a minute. This is for high school and college students. Wait a minute. Let me just mute this person. Yeah. So Cornell note-taking is also something that is very important. While you're reading, you take down notes. While you're reading, you make questions. While you're reading, you make inferences, right? You find the main idea. You write down your keywords. And then comes your summarization and paraphrasing. And this is very helpful if you're reading multiple pages, like your professor has given you maybe a 20-page article or a text that you have to read. Mostly in the humanities class, they have a lot to read in liberal arts class. So something that can help you retain the information is summarization. And I always tell students how to summarize. Go paragraph by paragraph or go subheading by subheading. If the writer has given you subheadings in the article, summarize the first subheading, then summarize the second, then summarize. So chunk it down. It's called chunk reading in an ELA classroom. Summarizing what you have read helps a lot. Retain the information so that you know where to go to which paragraph when you're answering those questions. So paraphrasing is something that is different than summarization. Paraphrasing is something that when you put the whole text in your own words, right? Summary would be, what's the main idea of this text? What are the details? Okay, you put it down the way the author has given you. Paraphrasing is when you put the whole thing in your own words, right? After reading maybe the Odyssey, which is one of the literature books, I read about Calypso or one of these characters, or and then how does this character manifold, right? What kind of a character is she? I'm going to put that whole thing in my own words from the information that I've gathered after reading Odyssey and after reading this character Calypso in the book Odyssey. So paraphrasing helps a lot because you're not only understanding the information, but you're also putting it down in your own words. And that's how you retain the information that you have read. Okay. Some people use visual graphic organizers, essay outlines, graph strategy. I wish I could go into it, but I have no time. There are so many strategies. Making inferences, and then visualizing and making connections. Okay. The other most important thing I want to mention is unpacking the prompt. Most of the time, what happens is there is a prompt given to you, there is a question given to you, and the students write a beautiful response, very beautifully crafted, but it never answers, it doesn't answer the question. So it is very important to unpack the prompt. I call it unpacking because when a teacher gives you a prompt, it is very important to read the prompt at least 3 times. Then find the key words in the prompt. Is it asking you to analyze? Is it asking you to evaluate? Is it asking you to describe? Those keywords are very important. Is it asking you to compare and contrast? Is it a problem solution essay, or is it just a descriptive essay? So unpack the question first, understand the question, then outline what you're going to put in the response. If you don't understand the question, you will end up writing a wrong answer, which might be 3 and 4 paragraphs long, beautifully written, but it's not answering the question. So you get a 0. I mean, I cannot, most of the teachers and professors are always hung up on this, that the student writes so beautifully, but they have not answered the question and they end up failing. So unpacking the question is very important. Understand the question, what it is asking you. Any questions? Okay, so these are some of the questions you will ask yourself. Okay, mostly, these are most commonly used questions after reading a text. Okay, so I'll just go through a few. What does it make you wonder, and what questions do you have? What mental picture does it create when you read that text, right? Like when you read about plastic consumption and its usage, what picture does it create in your mind? Do you see plastic on the road, littered? Do you see plastic everywhere in your garbage can? Then it shouldn't be there. It should be in the recycling can. Does a recycling can or a recycling bin comes into your mind? Then of course, those are some mental pictures you make while you read this text. And those mental pictures are very important because that is what you're going to be writing about. So create those mental pictures. It's a creative process. What is the theme? What is the author trying to tell you? That is it a problem? Is he giving you solutions? Or is he just leaving it for your opinion and things like that? Let's keep moving forward. Metacognition is a very, very important part of reading. And most of your, in elementary, middle school, and high school, there is a question asked, which is based on metacognition. Now, metacognition is when you read that text, it is not a factual question, by the way. It is not even a question based on what you have read in that. It is a question about how you connect what you read with your own self, right? So let's go back to this particular topic of plastic consumption and its usage, right? How do you connect yourself to this problem? It's a problem, we all know it, right? So how would you connect it to self? So you can end up giving an example from your life. You can end up giving some solutions that you own, your own solutions that you come up with. So questions like these are asking the reader or the tester, who is a student, to dive deeper into the text, right? You're not just reading the text at a superficial level. You're diving deeper, you're making a connection to it, and then you're trying to put your own experiences into that response. So metacognition is that, and most of the questions, high school questions also, I mean, on most of your literature questions are also based on metacognition. Let me go back to, and then I'm going to show you some samples. Nivi, just let me know if you can see the samples, okay?
Yeah, I would like to go back to metacognition for
Oh,
just
yeah,
one
sure. Yes,
second.
yes.
Because I remember we had discussed about this, and
Yeah.
I want everybody to know that apart from just high school, middle school, or any other grade that you are till you go to undergrad or college, metacognition gets more and more important as you go to higher grades, and it becomes super important when you do your undergrad or even grad school, because every single time you write a prompt, ideally, from my own experience and from what I have mentored, metacognition is the number one priority. How do you understand this? And in what way do you understand this? But if you make a note of these and put it on the wall, if you're writing a prompt, if you're writing a college essay or PhD essay, whatever it is, make a note of this. We'll share this presentation, write it on the board or just paste it on your wall. Metacognition is the master, because the more you have your perspective or what do you understand, that becomes the whole crux of your essay eventually.
That's
Thank
correct. That is so correct. And then this is more so for the college going students who have to write a personal statement essay, right? The personal statement essay is all about metacognition. It is how you feel, what are your emotions, and you want to convey those emotions to your reader, who is your admissions officer. So metacognition will go hand in hand throughout your life. I mean, just it is more reflective. Metacognition is nothing but reflecting upon what you have done in your lives, your experiences, and in this case about reading, because reading is also an experience, right? Sometimes we are so much we connect with a character, and then it says, hey, you know what, this character felt this way. I felt it the same way in my life when I was maybe 10 years old or 15 years old. That itself is metacognition. You're trying to connect this text or the character or the event or the experience to yourself. And that is what reading is all about. If there is no connection, then it's all superficial reading. There has to be a connection, even for informational text. When I say informational text, it's text which have to do with science or those math or all those subjects also have a metacognition in it. Absolutely, yes. So let me share some examples with you. When I was talking about these strategies, the pre-reading strategies and the during reading strategies. Now, these are some of the examples that I use in my classroom. Now, this is a college class, of course, okay? Usually, I write a sample essay for my students because, the students need to see what they need to write. If they do not know what they need to write, they are going to be confused. So usually, if a teacher gives you a prompt, this is for the middle school and high school and college students. If you're given a prompt or if you're given a prompt to write an essay, please look at the rubric first. The rubric is, how your professor or how your teacher is going to grade you. What does your teacher or what does your professor want from you in this essay, right? There is a prompt, of course, but there has to be a rubric because at the end, you're writing this essay. Some of you might be writing it for leisure, just because you like, but you are writing this essay to get grades, right? You need out of 100 or 80 or 70 or 90, whatever. So in that case, you should know how your professor is going to grade you. So in this case, look at this. There might be, this is one of the rubrics that we use this is for humanities, okay? Now, when we grade or when I grade my essays, my students' essays at college, this is the rubric I follow. This is the rubric I follow. So this is for the teacher. I will follow, right? I will say, oh, how is the content? Content is the meat of your essay, right? What you're writing about. Is it logical? Is it supporting ideas? Is it controlling? Is it free-flowing? If your reader is confused, if I'm confused when I read your essay, probably, or if you are confused after you read your essay, probably your audience is also going to be confused. So look at the rubric. How is your organization, right? Is it focused throughout? Are the ideas placed in an appropriate, like a logical manner, or are they just thrown here and there, right? Also, are those ideas related? Or are you just talking about something else? Like the prompt is not even asking you. Style. Style comes with practice. Style is how concise it is, how precise it is, right? Is it too elaborate? Can the writer make it more precise there? That's a skill. If you're writing poetry or if you're writing an essay which is very descriptive or narrative, you can be very elaborate there. But if you're writing a problem solution essay, if you're writing a persuasive essay, if you're writing an argumentative essay, you need to be very precise and clear in your thought process, right? You cannot be very elaborate there. You cannot have sentences over sentences over sentences there. So depending on the text structure, who your audience is, you will also have a style, okay? And the style can be, are there varieties of styles used by this writer? How is the voice, right? How does this writer sound like? Is he opinionated or is he just giving out some evidences and things like that? And then conventions like punctuation, grammar, spelling, capitalization, those are also looked at the college level. Let me tell you that. These conventions of grammar, they do not go away. Even when you write a college essay, those essay readers look for those grammar and punctuation and spelling and all of that. So look at the rubric first before you start getting into an essay. Usually students are given an easier rubric like this. It is an easy language so that the students can always, after writing the essay, use this as a checklist to see if, hey, are my ideas clear? Is it a supporting idea? Yes, put a check, check, check. If you don't have a supporting idea, if there is no conclusion there, then put a no there. You have to revise, edit, go back. So students, usually many professors, many teachers, before giving a prompt, give a rubric to the students. And it is a very good practice giving out rubrics to the students because the students then know what to write and how to write and what the purpose of writing is, what the goal is. So that's the rubric. So let me share some examples here. So look, let me go back. And Nivi, again, tell me if you can see this, okay?
Yes, we can.
I'm opening another one now.
And while she's opening, whatsoever we explain here, or we cannot probably, but it's important for you, we will be sharing all of this material to every single person on the Balak group, and feel free to circulate it to your friends and loved ones.
Now, Nivi, can you see my annotated copy?
Yes, I can. Where it says point 1, point 2.
That's correct, yes. So when you are given a text like this, say, for example, this is a text given to you on your test, right? It is very important for you guys to hold that pencil in your hand and annotate while you're reading. This is like a one-time process. Okay, and it is required because you don't want to go back to the text to read it again. So annotate it. Uh, okay, I first read my first paragraph. Okay, this is how I annotate. This is something that the author has said. I highlight it. This might be the main idea. This might be the thesis statement. Who knows, right? So I have annotated it. What I mean by annotation is I'm using my highlighters. I'm underlining the important words, important sentences. I'm making notes on the side as a reader. This is an active reader. This person is an active reader because he has used his pencil, and as he's reading, he's making notes. He's either paraphrasing it or he's summarizing what he read in that paragraph on the side in very brief words. You don't have to write a paragraph here on the side. It has to be very brief. Maybe he's just talking about a character sketch. Maybe he's just talking about problems there. Maybe then he gives some solutions there, right? Now, if he's talking about problems, highlight it. In the next paragraph, if he talks about solutions, write on the side notes, these are the solutions given by the writer, and highlight the solutions there, right? Annotation is very important because this is when you get back, when you read that prompt and you want to go back to your text, you're not wasting time, right? You're not reading it again. You know where to go, which paragraph was what. We are not robots. We cannot remember. And I'll tell you something, in college, you'll be given 60 pages to read. Nobody can remember 60 pages of information. If you don't use annotation appropriately and in a very persistent way, you are going to be a lost reader. Another example, let me share with you.
Madhavi, while we are on this,
Yes.
personally struggled with this during my just post-college years for, not undergrad, but grad school. I
Yes.
come from a different country where I learned that we do comments on the sides.
That's right.
What is the exact difference between comments or writing comments and annotation?
Yeah.
Because even though we had Shakespeare English, Queen's English,
Yeah.
I was at a complete loss to know the word annotation because
Yeah.
you know what does it exactly
Exactly
entail?
mean.
Where
Yeah.
do you go wrong with a comment and annotation?
That's correct. That is correct. And most of the students tell me that, Miss Jagtap, I cannot, because if I make notes on the side, it makes my mind so clumsy. It's all clumsy work there. I cannot think well. So I said, it's okay. You don't have to annotate on the text. Use your note cards. Use your sticky notes, right? Sticky notes are very important. Carry them on your test if you want to. Ask your test taker to give you sticky notes if you want to. And as you read each paragraph, put a sticky note on that paragraph and then make notes on the sticky note that this paragraph talks about this. Then go on to the second paragraph. Put a sticky note on it. You can make notes on sticky notes. You can make notes on the text. You can make notes on note cards if you want to. Some students use note cards, like, those flashcards. They write their notes on that. And they become their study guide. That becomes their study guide for test taking or quizzes.
But then I'm still conflicted. So your keynotes would contribute to become your comments or your study guide. But the
Yes.
annotation would be the buzzwords which will help you to come up with the comprehension answers, or what is the exact definition or the tipping point that separates the two of them?
Annotation and comments. So comments can be your own comments, right? If you read a text, you can comment on it. It can be your opinion. You are summarizing it, you're paraphrasing it. Annotations are very, very precise. Like sometimes we teach students the annotation marks. Like, this is repeated words. This is this is the main idea. This is the supporting details. This is what the thesis statement is. This is what the conclusion is. So annotations are very specific. So sometimes students use color codes. They use highlights for main ideas, and they might use underlining for supporting details. They might use asterisks for keywords. Or if there is a word that they don't understand and they have to go back to that word, they might box that word. So annotation keys, there are certain annotation tools and keys that are taught in ELA classrooms. When you're reading a text, some people color code it, some people use these tools. And that's very important. It's very important.
Thank you. So that means if you write the main idea, the conclusion,
Yeah.
10 points. So when you're answering the comprehension,
Yeah.
if you have to say, oh, I need to go to the main idea and a particular point that was said, it's
Yeah.
not necessary to read the entire thing again. You
You
just
don't
put
need to read it because
annotations
you
and you
know. Yes, you
come to
all.
that. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
You
Appreciate it.
already know. Now, say for example, you have 5 pages to read, and then you have a prompt to answer, and you know it's somewhere in those 5 pages. Now your mind is going crazy. I have read it somewhere. Now a student, this is what he does, he or she would do. They sometimes go back to the text and they read the whole thing again. Now, because that student has not annotated anything, I see a blank copy. Like when I give them printouts, I usually give them printouts because I need to see your annotation. I don't like students. Sometimes students can also annotate online. Now they have these tools where you can online annotation and they can share it with their professors. But if you're given hard copies, your teacher and your professor might want to see your annotation first. And for when I grade an essay, I also have 20 points for annotation. Your essay might be the best essay in the world, but if you have not shown me annotation, I might cut those 20 points out. I might take those 20 points out of 100 points. Annotation is a skill that has to be learned when you're reading. It has to be learned. You cannot just keep reading text over text over text, and your brain cannot retain anything, and then you cannot answer that prompt. So it helps. The next is, this is a very basic essay structure. This is how, not an elementary student maybe, but a middle school, high school student might write an essay like with these many paragraphs, okay? So the introduction usually has some hook sentences, then it comes with a thesis statement and the points that you want to make in the essay that is going to follow. Then you have your body paragraphs. That's section number 2, right? Now, depending on your type of essay, whether it's problem solution, persuasive, argumentative, or descriptive, narrative, whatever it is, every single essay has to be divided into paragraphs, first of all. Okay. The introduction, the body paragraphs, and then comes the conclusion. Those are the only 3 sections. Now, your middle paragraphs, your section 2, can be very short, can be very long, can be 1 paragraph, can be 3 paragraphs, can be 7 paragraphs there, depending on what your thesis statement is, what you're trying to prove there. But this is the basic structure of your essay. So your hook sentences, and I'll go over some hook sentences, and this will take another few minutes. But a thesis statement and hook sentences and your topic sentences are the most important sentences of your essay. When a professor or when a test taker or when your your admission officer in college is reading your essays, you should have some good hook sentences, how you begin your essay, right? Then comes your thesis statement. Most of your personal statements don't have a thesis statement, but if you're writing an argumentative essay, a persuasive essay, it should have a thesis statement. And in an essay, where should a thesis statement go? It's always the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. You cannot have your thesis statement as your first sentence. You cannot have your thesis statement in your conclusion. Your thesis statement is always the last sentence of your introduction. It is telling you, it's like a mind map for your reader, what the entire essay is going to be about. It's like a mind map. It's like, it's telling you the main idea. Then comes your topic sentence and your supporting ideas, details, with a concluding sentence. Second topic sentence with your supporting ideas, concluding sentence. Third topic sentence, and I'll give you an example for this, with your supporting ideas and a concluding sentence, and then comes your conclusion. Usually, conclusion is your opinion, what you feel about this entire topic that you have wrote an essay about, okay? It is a summary of your thesis statement, basically. You're just reiterating the thesis statement and giving your opinion in few sentences. Okay, your body paragraphs can be longer paragraphs, but your introduction and your conclusion always has to be shorter than your body paragraphs. This is a known fact. Okay, you should know this. So this is how a basic essay would look like. Now let me share with you another example here. Look, this is what I was talking about. Now, this is one of the student wrote and response paragraph. We were discussing an article in my class, can men and women just be friends, right? It was an argumentative topic. People had their opinions. We had debates in the class, and then we read maybe 5 to 7 articles based on this topic. Can men and women be just friends, right? And then at the end of this, after researching several topics and looking at people's opinions, some people were, yes, they can be. Some people were, no, they cannot be. So I gave them some articles to read with both the opinions. Some authors who were writing about, examples and evidence about why they think that they can be just friends, and then things like that. Now, this is what they wrote. This was their major assignment, response paragraph, which is an argumentative paragraph. So look, this student, first of all, has a title. Okay, very important. There is a title. Any essay should have a title. Essay cannot be without a title, even if it's a personal statement. The sentence here in black, which is color-coded black, is the student's hook sentence. So I don't want to go into the depths of reading all this, but he started with the hook sentence. Now, this essay was, they only had to write about 20 sentences for this essay. So again, how concise you can be was a skill. I wanted to see how concise and how precise, to the point, the students can be when they're trying to put their claim and evidence in a paragraph, in one paragraph. So look, so there is a hook sentence here. Recently, I had a male friend, blah, blah, blah. He's just trying to introduce what he's trying to write. Then comes his thesis statement. While I was disappointed, I believe his decision supports the idea that there are several reasons men and women can't be just friends. Now, when I read this thesis statement or a topic sentence, I know that his entire next few lines are going to be about that he thinks that men and women can't be just friends. Now, if he says that, if this is his thesis statement, all his claims should be pointed towards his thesis statement. Okay. If I find a claim there which is not justifying his thesis statement, he will get negative marking. All right. Now he's giving a topic sentence. His claim is everything in yellow here is his claim. Everything in black is his example. He gives a claim, he supports it with an example. He gives a second point, supports it with an example. A third point, another supporting example. And then comes his conclusion. And one of his conclusions is from the article that we read, and he's citing that article here. One of the article that Steve Harvey interviewed Lavia, and so he's citing one of the articles too. So his fourth example is coming out from the article, and then a concluding sentence. So this is how, a very good essay, which has coherence, which is free flowing, which I didn't have any vagueness in my mind when I was reading it. He's going back in his conclusion to his thesis statement. This person got a 92. I never, a student never gets 100 on 100 in an essay unless it's but this student got a 92. Now, the reason why I gave him 92 was because he could have used more sophisticated vocabulary in his essay. But I see transition words, that's a positive. First, in addition, a third reason, finally, and then in conclusion. Those are transition words, very important in essays. They carry marks. So this is how it should follow. Hook sentences, thesis statement, claim, proof, and then a conclusion. Any questions? I know. Any questions, Nivi?
But rather how to practice it like a real lawyer.
Yeah, can we please mute everybody?
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Let's keep moving forward. Now let's come to writing. Okay, this is our second section, writing. And when I say writing, writing is a daunting task. We all know that. But I always tell my students, like my students who are looking at their screen and sitting there in my classroom for 15 minutes, and I see that, hey, you're not typing yet. There is no hook sentence or nothing coming out of you. That's a daunting task, right? When you have a pen and a pencil in your hand and you're just looking at your notebook and nothing's coming out of you, it's a scary task. Now, the scariest moment is always just before you start it, right? Once you pour those sentences down, that scare, that fear is gone. Let me tell you that. So don't overthink and always free write. Start with free writing. If you're given a topic, this is for the college students, if you're writing your personal statement, right? Start with free writing exercises. Whatever comes to your mind, just pour it down on your paper. And this is the first draft, maybe. This might be the outline of your essay. Unless you start free writing, nothing's going to come to you easily. It doesn't have to be in a very very good format when you start drafting something. Again, I always make my students, and if you have, if middle and high school students sometimes do group studies, many students do that. My daughter does it too. They like to do group studies. Group studies is like they don't study by themselves. They do group studies, or even in the classrooms. Sometimes we put students in groups. I feel, one mind is better, 2 or 3 minds are better than one mind, right? When they come together, when they collaborate, when they brainstorm, when they problem solve, and they learn from each other, there are more ideas coming on to the essay. So that is something very important. If there is no one, if you don't like group study, if you're studying by yourself, if you like to study by yourself, that's not a problem either. But if you're stuck with the idea, how to begin, what should be my topic to write about, collaborate with someone. Ask your parents, maybe, collaborate with your friends, maybe. How do you think about this topic? And things like that. It always helps collaboration. Let's keep moving forward. Yeah, and then most of these things I already discussed. When you're reading something first, when you're writing something, look at the rubric first, read the prompt multiple times, thesis statement, topic sentences, use an outline, which is like a mind map. I call it a mind map because it works like a map for your brain, right? When you make those bubble maps, when you make the graphic organizers, you're making outlines. And those outlines are going to help you draft your essays. You have to get started somewhere, and therefore these mind maps are very, very productive. And they have helped. They have helped my students a lot. So plan, revise, edit, re-edit, proofread, write again. So writing is not a linear process, ladies and gentlemen. It's a cyclical process, right? It's a recursive process. You have to come back to your introduction. You have to come back to your second, third, fourth paragraph. So you're always connecting those dots. You're coming back to your essay many times. You're going back, rereading it. You're going back to your drafts and rereading it. So it's not a linear process. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and end of essay. No. If that is what you're using, it will never be a good essay. It's a cyclical process. You have to go back to your drafts. You have to go back to your text that you have researched, if it's a research-based essay, right? And things like that. So this is more with, any questions so far? I know I'm talking a lot.
I
Nivi?
just had one, and folks, just wanted to let you know that this particular section and session of the podcast,
Yeah.
it deals with how do you write a good essay for college, for undergrad, for high school, for middle school, for PhDs, for your proposals, and everything in between. Every single thing hinges on the science that we provide here. There was a question about a text-dependent analysis prompt. So does this go here Madhavi Tai, or
Yeah, a text,
do you have
a
any
text.
tips for that?
Yeah, a text-based analysis would be more for high school students. An extended response is more so for elementary. They are given a prompt, you have to write an extended response to it. But a text-based, like say, for example, I'm reading Odyssey in my classroom, right? And after reading this whole entire book, I asked my students to do a literature review about maybe a character from, or how are those characters similar? Or how are those characters, or pick one character from the text that we read and pick a character which is very much similar to yourself. So then there is a comparison here. They are comparing one of those characters to themselves. Which character are they very close to? And this itself can be a text-based text analysis prompt. Again, metacognition coming here, right? How can you relate to that character, or how is that character very closer to you? So then the experiences in that character's life and your life might be similar, and you're trying to put that in an essay. And how you put that in an essay is a skill again. But some of the text-based research prompts, like many professors might read a text, maybe a psychology text, right? And they might give you a prompt, and they might ask you to analyze the anxiety disorders in the text, right? And then you're talking about not only what the writer wrote in the text, but you're also giving your own opinions there by giving some examples from your life, or maybe a movie you have watched, or another book you have read, or someone in your family who had an anxiety disorder. So you're trying to put it together in an essay. So what I'm trying to say is when a prompt is given to you, you're not just picking up everything from the text and giving the facts in your prompt. You're trying to connect that response or that essay to your own life as well, to your own experiences as well. Maybe if I answered that question.
Yes, ma'am, you did. I mean, you're the expert.
No, I'm
This is
not the
not my
expert.
domain, although I do
I'm
have a
still-
degree in education, but this is not my forte. But I just wanted the expert to answer. Thank you.
Yes. So there are two types. This is for the college students now. My focus here is on the high school students who are going on into the college. And I'm pretty sure there are many students, parents here who have their high school kids who will write essays now. Yay, essay time. And some colleges need 3 and 4 essays. Some students end up writing many essays. I cannot even tell you the number, depending on how many colleges and universities they are applying to, right? Depending on that. And depending on how many, that particular university requires how many essays from you, from the student. So it's all dependent on that. But there is one essay which is very, very, which is very common, and that is your personal statement. Okay, your personal statement is a chance where you have to talk about yourself. You're basically talking about yourself. Now, some students there. Now, I'm not an expert on college essays, but essays and reading, writing, the skills is the same. The skill set is the same. The rules are the same. So when you're writing a narrative, now the personal statement comes under narrative because it's about yourself, right? You're talking about yourself there. So it becomes a narrative essay. Now, sometimes some students might a narrative essay. Now, there are two types of essay you can write a personal statement on. Either a narrative essay, or it is something called as a montage essay or a collage essay. A montage essay is an essay which you're talking about yourself, but not just talking about one theme, not just one topic. You're trying to tell the reader about yourself from different perspectives. Okay, so it's like a collage of your life so far. Have you seen a picture collage, like 5, 6 pictures put together? And then it gives you an idea, hey, this person had gone to this particular trip, and gives you an idea. So a collage essay is similar to that. That's a different type of essay. And these essays are very good eye catchers, I'm telling you. The essay readers, I personally like the collage essays, the montage essays a lot, than the narrative essays. Now, I'll tell you the difference between the two. A narrative essay is going to be mostly highlighted and focusing on a challenge in your life. One challenge it might be, any challenge that you have faced, right? the part goes very specific. You have to talk about the very specific challenges in your life that you had as a kid. Okay, some big experiences, and what were those tough situations that you had to go through, any obstacles that you came in, during your school life and things like that. Then you talk about what you did about them. Okay, this was a challenge in your life. How did you overcome those challenges, right? What were the effects? Were there any special needs that you had to go through? What actions did you take? What did you do about them? So your reader, who is your admissions officer, is not more interested in knowing the challenge. Everybody has challenges in life, right? So what? He might say, so what? What did you do about those challenges? How did you overcome them? That is more important to that admissions officer. So then your narrative would be going on to how you overcame those challenges. What values helped you, right? What were those skills that helped you grow as, coming across those challenges? And what you learned from it. Now, this is again metacognition here, ladies and gentlemen. What you learned from those challenges. And that is what your reader wants to know. And also your admission officers wants to know. What did you do about those challenges? How did you learn? What did you learn from them? So lessons that have inspired you, or experiences and reflection about those experiences, it's all reflective. What did you do about it, and how and what you learned about it? So yes, Nivi.
Madhavi, I think we need to go back to the slideshow mode so that people can see it bigger.
Oh, the slideshow is not?
No,
I'm sorry.
no problem.
Here it is.
Thank you, Urvi. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And
So
according to our discussion, after you're done with this, I just
Yeah.
had a small pointer. So
All
I'll
right.
wait for you.
Okay.
I'll wait for you
Yes.
to finish. Yeah.
Yes. So narrative outline. So this is one type of an essay you can write, narrative about your challenges. It can be any challenge. Okay. Now, when you're writing on a college essay, make sure you're not fabricating things. Make sure you're not faking things. It should come out from your heart. It should be an experience that you have lived for sure. Because let me tell you something, good readers can sense it. When somebody writes about, like I had given this essay to my students in college, who is the most inspiring person in your life, right? And think about two qualities of those person, and how have those two qualities inspired you, motivated you? How has your life changed because of these two qualities of that person? Now, there were two students there. One person wrote about his dog. So, okay, a dog can be inspiring too. So a dog can have some good qualities too. Okay, being over smart there. But another person wrote about his grandmother or someone, and then he mentioned two qualities. And then when he was describing those two qualities in his body paragraphs, I could just tell, of course, if it's AI generated, we know it. If it's AI generated, we can just tell it. And we have tools to we put that essay in that AI generator and it just tells us this is copy pasted. It's plagiarism. But if it's not plagiarism, if it's not copy pasted, if a student is just faking an experience, the readers can sense it. Good readers can absolutely sense it. The way you describe those experiences, the way you describe the background knowledge, or the way you describe it in your essay, we can just tell it. So don't fake it. Be authentic. Whenever you write, whichever essays you write for your college, please be authentic. Write about the experiences that you have lived, that you have experienced in your life. And don't just copy paste a movie character, or don't just copy paste a character that you have read in a book, and then say it was me, because we can just sense it. So yeah, Nivi.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I just wanted to let you guys know that the next session we are going to have after this is the college prep session. I'm very honored to take that session for everybody. However, the slide that we had, can we please go back to the narrative slide?
Yes.
Parents of 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders,
Yeah.
juniors, seniors in college who are applying for postgrad,
Yeah.
grad school, postgrad. please start writing this narrative from today onwards
Yes.
or on weekends. What shaped you to be who you are? Whether you like any prompts for the SAT or not, this is a sure shot prompt, which is definitely on the college board and everywhere that you see, and you will never be disappointed writing this prompt. What shaped me to be the person I am? What
Yes.
are my challenges that helped me to be where I am and to be who I am today? And like Madhavi Maushi said, please do not fub it. Be very, very genuine. If you're a seventh grader, eighth grader, ninth grader, 10th, 11th, please start writing that from today onwards, because this essay is the toughest essay that one can have. People usually choose when they come to SAT and they come to college prep, they feel SAT is the holy grail. You get good grades, you're done. No,
Oh, no.
SAT is one piece of the puzzle. Your
Yeah.
GPA is another piece. Your resume is yet another. Your website is another one. Your references are few more. And the biggest piece is, how do you write yourself? How do you explain who you are? And like Madhavita said, montage is my personal favorite too, because this is the toughest essay on the planet.
Yeah.
You can go haywire with this essay. You can just go into a never never land, or you can be very, very small and rigid
Precise.
with it.
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work that way. From today onwards, during your holidays, winter holidays or summer holidays, all the parents, please start practicing this narrative outline of who your child is, why they are. You don't do it, the child does it. So
Yeah.
please tell them to do it, because the more authentic they are, the first few times it will be super rigid. The second iteration, it will feel so natural. That is what you need, because once your child feels natural writing what shaped me to be the person I am, they can write the rest of the prompts like the back of their hand, because that means by that time they have done all the things correctly, and they will ace the prompt sections for different colleges. There are too many colleges to apply and too many prompts for each department. It just becomes too overwhelming at one point.
Yes.
But
Yes.
from now onwards, please start writing your narrative. Thank you,
That's
Madhavita.
correct. Yes, thanks for emphasizing that. And no matter what age, start drafting about yourself. This is about yourself. And I would and there is a let me just pull it out. There is an exercise that we do in the class, and I will share that exercise with you. If you guys are stuck on how to begin writing, most of these college students, okay, this is about your personal essay. If you're stuck, if you're just looking and staring at your computer screen, or if you're just staring at your book, if you do not know where to begin, do these exercises, and we will share these activities with you in maybe in the chat or on BMM. Somehow we will share it with you. But there is a feelings exercise and needs exercise. Now, let me just zoom this for you. Nivi, can you see the feelings in? Yes. So this is like an outline, right? This will help for your personal essay too. So the feelings and needs exercise is like, and we use it for narratives in our classrooms. When I saw or heard an experience, how did I feel? Okay, what was the event? This is about your feelings, right? This is about your narrative essay. You're talking about a challenge here. So when I saw something or when I experienced that challenge, what was that challenge? Okay, the effects were, you have to just fill in the blank. How did it affect you? How did you feel? Use a feeling word there. I felt. Now choose 2 or 3 of your feeling words from so many feeling words here. Look. These are all emotions, all feeling words, descriptive words. So how did you feel about it when you went through that challenge? Put 2 to 3 words there. And then because I needed, what were your needs? Look, so many needs out there. So pick 2 to 3 needs there. And this can absolutely become your outline. This can become your outline for writing about yourself, a narrative. Then comes, what did I do about it? Right? When I was facing those emotions and those were my needs, what did I do about it? How did I overcome it? Did I even overcome it? Or am I still facing those emotions? Some students do. And as a result, I developed, what did you develop? What did you learn? What did you learn from overcoming those challenges? And these are more words there. Look, these words are going to help you What did you learn from it? What are you going to carry forward in your life? Is it diversity? Is it about working alone? Is it about personal development, security, strength? Can be anything depending on your challenge, right? These are some of the things that you will be carrying forward with you as you grow. So, what did I learn from those challenges? Even if you start with this outline, even if you get started with this outline, I'll tell you, 20% of your work is done. All you have to do is elaborate this. How do you elaborate this? You put in experiences, you put in examples there, you put in those supporting details for your readers, right? You're just filling in the gap. You're connecting those dots, but you need to get started somewhere. Okay, this is the feelings and needs exercise. Another one that we always do is, let's see, this. This is also for college students, roles and identity. And I would, in my resources, I have mentioned the resource, the college essay guy. He has some really good resources. I love this website. I take a lot of resources from his website. So roles and identities, this is going to be for your montage essay. And I'll come back to this. Just look at this, roles and identities that you want to, that you identify most with. Right? Some of the juniors right now or seniors, or some of your 9th and 10th graders. What are some of the roles that you identify yourself with? Now, see, the roles are very specific roles here. Let me zoom it for you. Are you an activist? Are you an analyzer? Are you a reader? Are you a fighter? Are you a founder? There are so many things. Are you a builder? Are you an author? Are you an environmentalist? These are roles. Are you a peacemaker? So pick any 5 top or maybe 10 roles that come to your mind, that you are, not come to your mind, that you can connect yourself with. Okay. Now, for me, if I have to pick something, I would pick, hey, I'm a reader. Then I'm a philosopher too. Peacemaker, maybe, yes. I'm a risk taker as well. And then maybe I will pick some more for me. I'm an author as well. So after you pick like maybe 5 to 10 roles, put it down on a piece of sheet. Okay. These are your 10 identities. This is what you identify the most with. This is your identity. Then moving forward, go to the value section. These are the values, right? Now, which each of those roles that you have picked, each of those identities that you have picked, what value do you connect? Values is very important. Your reader, every single time when we read essays, if it is a very superficial essay, lacking values and, lacking the in-depth knowledge of, if there is any kind of what you call the intellectual curiosity that we call, your essay is going nowhere, I'm telling you. So after you pick those 10 identities or the roles that you identify most, pick about 10 values from this list. Now, if I'm a reader, what am I going to, why am I a good reader? What am I looking for, the values? Why do I read? Is it just a leisurely reading? Or do I read for inspiration? Do I read for knowledge? Do I read for creativity? Or do I read, it can be anything here. Or do I read for humor? Right? So based on your identities that you have picked, pick 10 values and try and connect those identities with these values. This is again, this is a pre-writing thing. Before you start writing your personal essays, do these exercises. It's going to help you brainstorm where to get started, because most of the kids don't know what my topic is going to be. What do I relate most to? I don't know. Do this. It will tell you what you relate and what you are most connected to. And talk it with your parents or someone, hey, do you think that this is what I identify most with? What do you think? And then you condense it down from 10 to 5, 5 to 3, 3 to 1. And then when you have that one identity and one value system, talk about that in your essay. Make the essay about that identity, about that value system. Connect those threads. And I'll show you an example. I will show you an example for that as well. Because, reading and writing without demonstration is, students are not going to understand anything. Any questions here so far?
I just had one suggestion, Madhavitai, that
Yes.
I don't think we have any PhD students or postgrad here.
Yeah,
So most of the crux of our session is for middle to transitioning to high school and
high
high
school.
school transitioning to college.
I
So
see.
instead of the rest of the thesis,
Okay, no
whatever,
worries.
you want to focus on this more and take some questions from
Yes.
people, because after 1.5 hour, everybody kind of starts getting
Oh,
monotonous.
yeah, it's
So
8:30 already.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if you can show the artifacts, and then we can start
Yes.
taking after the 13th slide, if we can start taking questions, that would
Yes,
be great.
absolutely.
Folks, please ask all your questions.
Yes, yes, I'm ready for your questions. So again, do the darn thing now, meaning let's pick up that pencil and start writing is what it
बालक पालक चांगलं
so
सेशन आहे. It's about
activities.
reading, writing
मंडळी, खूप
essays.
खूप धन्यवाद चांगलं सेशन बोलल्याबद्दल, पण प्लीज थोडंसं म्यूट करा. थँक्यू.
Yeah. Okay, there's so much on the slides, but I will not be able to cover anything, much of it. So stronger verbs is something that I want to tell you. When you're writing your essays, please use those strong verbs. You have to show, you're not just telling your essay reader. You have to show that, okay, you have done so many things in your lifetime so far. So some of the examples here are created art and organized clubs. Okay, many people do it, so what? There might be 1,000 people who will be doing this, right? But instead of that, use very strong verbs that can create a picture in front of your reader's mind. Like, I can see that person working in front of my eyes, right? You have to be very descriptive when you write your personal essays. So instead of just saying created art and organized clubs, you could say something like this: organized and ran meetings, set up field trips, brainstormed and created group art activities, wrote and sent newsletters to members, right? So this is giving me more description of what you have done in that organization, in that club, right? It's being more descriptive. Again, another example: debated topics, attended tournaments, research topics. Okay, everybody does that. Every single student does that. What is new for me here? What is the new thing that you're bringing on the plate? So make it this way. I led research and case writing. Mentored, of course, if you have done this, I'm just giving you an example. If you have not done this, you will not write about it. Mentored younger debate students, organized mock debates, right? Hosted annual debate tournament and things like that. And then for additional, you can see my awards section if you want to. So use those descriptive adjectives and use stronger verbs when you're describing what you're trying to show your reader.
Maushi, I have a small pointer for that and needed
Yeah.
your expert opinion on number 16.
Yes.
Use of stronger words. While I was previewing and going through a college essay, and for some people in undergrad did that too for med school essays, when I was just reviewing their stuff. Do not write. I hated just being sedimentary, and I
Yeah.
started doing research, knowing the person that I am, full of life and ferocious and have a zing of life. We don't want to hear all this zing of life. I was
Oh,
very
yeah.
ferocious. I was
Yes.
very aggressive. Everybody knows you're
Yeah.
amazing, but
Yeah.
you don't. There are some words in real life too. I hate.
Yes.
I'm aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Hate is a
Never
very
use them
bad
in
word,
essays.
guys. And even for us as adults, it's a very bad word to use. We don't want to hate anybody in this world. There can be a milder version to say that you despise something. You may not despise the person, but you despise something. So you're ferocious, you're aggressive. These are not the strong words that she's saying. What she's saying is just describe the activity in a very nice way.
In a nice way. Verbs are like the kriyapad, right? Apna Marathi madhe. So when you're using those verbs, make use of verbs which will describe you as a person, is what I'm trying to say. Of course, like Nivi said, you never use those derogatory words or negative words, which is going to make your reader think, hey, really? How is he going to behave on my commute, on my college campus then, right? Because all these values you're bringing to the college campus, they want to know what values you bring to the community, to the college community. You don't want to talk about anything negative, of course, about yourself. But having said that, if there is something, and that is something about the vulnerability I wanted to talk about, if there is something that you have done in your life which you are repenting or you're regretting, and if you want to write about that, now, of course, not if you have shot a person or, I'm not talking about those bad things, but if you have done something, something negative in your life, and if you want to write an essay on that, make sure you're trying to show your reader that how, after having done that, how you changed as a person. Don't just keep talking about how, that challenge in your life and, this is something I did really horrible stuff and an event in my life. Okay, yes, I read about it. Now, how is that going to help you? How has that helped you? How did you change as a person? What are you going to, as an adult, what kind of person are you going to be? Are you going to be the same person or the changed person? And then having said that, what are you bringing to my community, to my college campus, right? If you have not changed, I don't want you on my campus, of course not. So things like that. It's very important when, some people get very vulnerable in their essays. Now that is a very, that essay can go two ways. I'm telling you, it can be either the best of best essay, how that person has written that vulnerable essay about his bad quality that he had and how he changed, giving examples and experiences, or it can go the other way. I'm telling you. So, all right, thesis statements, very important. Be concise. Now, thesis statement can be a whole big workshop. How to write a thesis statement can be a workshop in itself. Thesis statements are always the last sentence of your introductory paragraphs. They are very concise, very to the point, and your thesis statement is like a main idea of your essay. When I'm reading your thesis statements, I get an idea what your second paragraph, your third, your fourth, and your fifth is going to be about. If it's not aligned with your thesis statement, you might get negative markings there. So your body paragraph should be aligned to your thesis statement. Whatever you have put in your thesis statement. Let me read one for you. This is a thesis, this is an example here. The life of a typical college student is characterized by time spent. Let me put it in the slideshow here for you guys. So the life of a typical college student is characterized by time spent studying, comma, the comma is very important, boys and girls, attending class, comma, and socializing with peers. Now, if you ask me, how many paragraphs should the student have? Just reading his thesis statement, I know he should have 3 body paragraphs after this. This is his introduction. This is his last sentence of his introduction, right? After that, he should have 3 more paragraphs. How do I know that? Because look, his thesis sentence has mentioned that the life of a college student is characterized by which 3 things? Time spent studying is 1. Attending classes 2. Socializing with peers is 3. So now his second paragraph should have a topic sentence, which is going to talk about time spent studying. This is a 3-point thesis statement, if you ask me. There's a 1-point thesis statement, 2-point thesis statement, 3-point. This is a 3-point thesis statement. Why? Because this student is making 3 points here, 3 claims. I know that his second paragraph is going to be about his topic sentence should be time spent studying. His third paragraph topic sentence should be attending class. And the third paragraph, again, the 4th paragraph after that should be socializing with peers. And then a conclusion paragraph. So this is a 5-paragraph essay, right? Again, another one, high school graduates should be required to take a year off to pursue community service projects before entering college in order to increase their maturity and global awareness. Now, if I ask you how many point thesis statement is this? What is the claim that this writer is trying to make you? It's a 2-point thesis statement. Why? Look, Those transition words are very important in your thesis statements. And we have a big whole workshop on transition words only, how to use transition words in essays. So look, high school graduates should be required to take a year off to pursue community service. This is the topic. This is the topic. Okay, community service projects before entering college. Why? Now, why is this answer here? Is his thesis. In order to increase their maturity and global awareness. So his essay is going to be focusing on in how college students can increase their maturity by pursuing community service, and also why they should do community service, because for global awareness. So this is paragraph number 2, paragraph number 3, with 2 topic sentences at the beginning of the paragraph. So this is how, this is how a thesis statement is very important when you write your essays. Any questions? All right. Impressive hooks. I always tell my students, don't worry about your introduction and conclusion, right? Every essay has an introduction and conclusion. They should have an introduction and conclusion. First, work on your body paragraphs, because that's the main chunk of your content goes there. And that's the easiest stuff. Writing body paragraphs is the easiest stuff. So, because writing the introduction is the most difficult part of the essay, is the most difficult part. So when you sit down to write an essay, don't start with writing your introduction first. Please don't do that. It sometimes discourages you, it sometimes demotivates you, and then you're bored, you get out, you don't even write. Start with your body paragraphs first. Start with that second, third, fourth paragraph first, okay? And then you can revisit your introduction. Because the hook sentences always hook your readers. They're the eye catchers. Always avoid overly grand, impersonal, ambiguous statements. Statements like, many great thinkers have existed in our nation's history. Some people start their essays with this kind of, sentences. Or, the key to successful endeavor is perseverance. Okay, good. It's just copy-pasted from somewhere. All right, somebody's quotation is your sentence here in your essay. Many teachers say that, hey, start a good essay with a quotation. Please don't do that. It's very boring. If it's coming out of you, then it's more interesting. Because I have read this quotation 1,000,000 times in the essays by 1,000,000 students. So it's not at all intriguing me at all anyway. So grand statements get lost in the crowd because they don't tell me more about you. I want to connect with you as a writer. So tell me about yourself in your hook sentence. Okay. Second is quotation. Don't ever put a quotation of famous people there and begin your essay. Please don't do that. Thousands of students do it, 1,000,000. It becomes boring for the reader. Remember, the colleges want to hear your thoughts, not what somebody XYZ said. They have already said they've become popular and famous and they're gone. What are you trying to say here, right? So don't use words of another people or person. Use your own opinions and sides. Again, too obvious thesis statement. Don't make your thesis statement in your personal statement very obvious, because the thesis statement comes in the introduction. Now look, if I read a thesis statement like this, I want to be a vet because I care about animals and the environment. Okay, you just gave it away, girl. Okay, now I know that your entire essay is about you want to become a vet because you care about animals and environment. It's a very cliched sentence. Don't use a thesis statement like this. And now I will not even want to read the entire essay because I know what you are going to become and what you want to become, right? So intrigue your readers, intrigue them, make them think. Your thesis statement should be very well constructed. Let me tell you that. It's your soul of your essay. It's the soul of your essay. Yes, Nivi.
मावशी, आता हा पार्ट सगळ्यात टफ आहे मावशी. आता मला व्हर्च्युअली धम्म काढू देणार आहेत कारण the quotes thing. Can I please respectfully ask this question? Can we go back there? sometimes there are some quotes
Yeah.
which define your life. And
Yes.
especially for the narrative essay, there
Yes.
are
Yes.
some quotes which you stand by, which you abide by,
Yeah.
and they may be your source of inspiration. So, is it
Use-
still not okay to write that
No,
quote?
no. Use the quotes, but use it in your body paragraph, maybe. Don't start your essay with a quotation. This I'm talking about. I mean, if you're writing an essay for middle school and high school to get grades for your class, okay, do so. I mean, that's fine. But if you're writing this for a college
Okay, I
personal
got it. Yeah,
statement,
that
then don't do it because
right.
there are millions of students doing it. They start the essay with a quotation.
Thank you.
If it is for middle school, high school essay, and your teacher is going to read it, and there are 20 students that she's comparing you with, okay, that's fine. But if you're writing this for college, don't do this. Now, I have some examples here of good hook sentences. Look, now you don't have to be poetic. Okay, I'm not expecting you to be a poet when you write your hook sentences, but look how descriptive they are. These are some of the sentences written for narrative essays. This is how she goes. Every Saturday morning, I would awaken to a smell of crushed garlic and piquant pepper. I would stumble into the kitchen to find my grandma squatting over a large silver bowl, mixing fat lips of fresh cabbage with garlic, salt, and red pepper. That was how the delectable Korean dish kimchi was born every weekend at my home. Now, you might think that, hey, now I did not put the entire essay there, but this person who has written this essay goes on to talk about her grandma's cooking skill and how kimchi, or how that dish kimchi, the Korean dish kimchi, is very, very dear to her, right? In her personal essay. These are things from the personal essay. So something like this is telling me that, okay, this person values. What value do I get here? She's connected to, first of all, her home, right? She's connected to her grandma. She's connected to, and then I will give you a briefing. She goes on to say that her grandma had cancer. That's what she found out. And then she goes on to say how she wants to become a cancer, like an oncologist in her essay. So, but look at how she has begun this essay. She begun this essay by talking about food. Would you even know that this student would end her essay by saying that she wants to become an oncologist because her grandma, who was her soul in the house, and what stands out for her grandma is, the kimchi that she made and the home and the home value and the connections that she made with her, had cancer and she passed away. And then she then goes on to say how she wants to use this but who would say that this person would write about that, how she wants to become an oncologist? Very, very uncommon. Uncommon topic, uncommon thread that she's connecting, and how she's elaborating later on was amazing. And one more I want to share with you. Let's see this. Bowing down to a porcelain god, I emptied the contents of my stomach. See how descriptive it is. It's very few. I can see this person eating something, putting something in his mouth and putting it in his stomach. I can literally see it. I can imagine it when he's writing it. Foaming at the mouth, I was ready to pass out. My body couldn't stop shaking as I gasped for air, and the room started spinning around me. 10 minutes prior, I had been eating dinner with my family at a Chinese restaurant, drinking chicken feet soup. Now, again, see all these examples of food that you begin with. And then they go on to say, my mom had specifically asked the waitress if there were peanuts in it. Because when I was 2, we found out that I am deathly allergic to them. Right? Now, he starts by saying that he's in a restaurant, he's eating a bowl of soup, he's literally putting it in his mouth. I can see him eating in front of my eyes, right? Sitting in his restaurant. And then we immediately know that he has some allergy issues. Now I am intrigued, like if this is his opening sentences, what is going to be in the second, third, and fourth paragraph? right? Is he going to be talking about allergies, how it affected him, those challenges? Then what is he going to become? What does he want to become? I'm intrigued. I want to read more. I will read more of these kind of essays. So what I'm trying to say here is that college essays which begin with the uncommon, which has an uncommon topic and an uncommon thread, and the beginning is very important, super important. Any more questions?
Maushi, we only have 5 more minutes. It's
5 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that we
Okay.
can wrap up in the last 5.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Time check.
Yes. Thanks for just reminding me that. So again, AI and creative writing, sometimes, not sometimes, I must say, never goes together. Please do not use your generative AIs and, your chat GPT and your whoever robots, those machines to write for you. Writing is not really writing, it's thinking, right? I mean, if you ask your robots to do your thinking, all that comes out of you is not going to be authentic. It's not going to be full of emotions and creativity and intuition. Intuition cannot be robotically brought into an essay. You know that, right? So, all these things, let your brain do the work for it, not the machine, is what I feel. You can take the AI help. I'll tell you when you can take AI help. You can take the help of AI when you want to generate topics. Like, you're writing a personal essay, you want some ideas, and AI will give you ideas. Hey, these are the ideas. Take 10 ideas, 20 ideas. Now elaborate them yourself, though. After writing the essay, if you want to get it, to detect grammar errors or correct the spellings and sentence structure, the mechanics of writing and the techniques of writing, then of course you can put your essay in that AI detector and get it detected, get it all rectified. But when it comes to the actual content of your essay, please do not use ChatGPT, because we can just tell that these essays are not authentic essays. It's not coming from your heart. There is no connection. If it's coming from your heart, there's an instant connection between you as a writer and me as a reader of your essay. If there is no connection, it's not coming from you, then it is just copy pasted from somewhere. And this could be a plagiarism, you know that, right? It's a crime. Plagiarism is a crime. So you can lose your registration if it's a plagiarized thing. Also, most of the AI text is biased. AI is a machine. It sometimes gives you biased opinion. It is also sometimes misleading, sometimes on a particular topic if you're talking about. All right, and these are some of the tools that you can go to. I always use the Purdue site for writing lab for my students, Excelsior OWL as a writing lab. College Essay Guy, he has some very good tips for writing your essays. Supplemental essays, your personal essays, your why me essays, right? Those why me, why you essays. And then commonlit.org has a lot of stuff on it that can help you become good readers and writers, of course. Yes. Any questions? All right.
Okay, folks. So with that, we conclude this essay writing session. Thank you so much for your undivided attention. I see still many people who were listening till the end, and thank you so much for that. मंडळी खूप खूप धन्यवाद. आज गुढीपाडवा असून तुम्ही इथे आलात. Rahul sir, would you like to wrap this up for this session for us today instead of me? Please go ahead. You're the lead for this, and then Prasad, you can have the last word, and we can call it a night.
नाही मला वाटतं की खूप छान सेशन घेतलं आणि नॉट ओनली फॉर स्टुडंट्स आय थिंक वी ऑल्सो लर्न हाऊ टू राईट द प्रोफेशनल ईमेल्स अँड कंटेंट. सो थँक्यू व्हेरी मच. प्रसाद सर.
नक्कीच धन्यवाद राहुल. धन्यवाद माधवीताई, निवी, गुड जॉब अगेन. आणि खूपच इन्फॉर्मेटिव्ह होतं जसं आता राहुल म्हणाला. तर तुम्ही जेव्हा बोलत होतात वेल्थ ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन, आय एम शुअर तुम्हाला अनेक प्रश्न येतील की हे शेअर करणारा का वगैरे. आणि त्याच्याहून पुढे जाईन. मला आता ऑफकोर्स राहुलशी मी बोलीन की आमच्या समरमध्ये युवा इंटर्नशिप आहेत आणि मागच्या वर्षी सुरू केलं होतं, आता त्यांचं काम चालू आहे. तर मला नक्की आवडेल की अशा टाईपची जर तुमची अवेलेबिलिटी असेल तर जे लोकांना इंटरेस्ट आहे त्यांना समरमध्ये तुम्ही नक्की एंगेज ठेवू शकता. त्यांच्याकडून 7-8 एसेज जरी लिहून घेतले आपण आणि प्रोफेशनल अप्रोचने, म्हणजे काय हवंय वगैरे त्यांना आपण नंतर बोलू. आता मला तुम्हाला स्पॉटलाईटवर नाही टाकायचंय, पण हे सगळं बघता खरंच जबरदस्त माहिती आहे ही सगळी आणि खूप फायदा होईल लोकांना. आय एम अपिलिंग पॅरेंट्स की तुम्हाला जर हा वाटत असेल की आम्ही एक समर इंटर्नशिप करावी, प्लीज लेट अस नो. जर डिमांड जास्त असेल तर आपण नक्की ते ऑफर करूया. नक्की या हायस्कूलर्सना फायदा होईल, मिडल स्कूलर्सना फायदा होईल. डाऊन द लाईन चांगलं कॉलेज मिळणं हे सगळ्या पालकांचा गोल असतं त्यांच्या मुलांसाठी. सो डेफिनेटली इट विल हेल्प. तर एवढं बोलून आपण थांबूया मंडळी. धन्यवाद. गुढीपाडव्याच्या सगळ्यांना शुभेच्छा. आणि
प्रत्येक एपिसोडला जसं अपकमिंग नेक्स्ट असतं तसं आमच्याकडे असतं. तर नेक्स्ट सेशन जो आहे तो सगळ्यात इम्पॉर्टंट सेशन या सेमेस्टरचा आहे अँड दॅट इज कॉलेज प्रेप. तो सेशन आय हॅव द ऑनर ऑफ taking that session personally for all of you, and education is something I absolutely love and mentoring is something I adore. So next session will be college prep session. Please stay tuned. तुमच्या मित्रमैत्रिणींना जे कोणी कॉलेज प्रेप करणार आहेत 11वीत 12वीत 10वीत आणि त्यांना माहिती हवी असेल, एस्पेशली पेरेंट्सना प्लीज सांगा आमचं कॉलेज प्रेपचं सेशन नेक्स्ट सेशन आहे आणि प्लीज बी स्टे ट्यून फॉर दॅट अँड प्लीज डू कम बॅक अँड सी अस. थँक्यू सो मच एव्हरीवन. गुड नाईट. सगळ्यांना शुभरात्री. पुन्हा एकदा नवीन वर्षाच्या हार्दिक शुभेच्छा.
थँक्यू.